Hello, I'm Dilek Tuna. Welcome to Africa News. Let's begin with the headlines. The World Health Organization calls for more support as Ebola spreads in the Democratic Republic of Congo. At least 16 students have been killed after a fire tore through a girls' school dormitory in Kenya. And South Sudan's army is warning of renewed fighting after accusing opposition forces of attacking military positions. The World Health Organization is pushing for stronger international support as it responds to an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The agency says insecurity and funding shortfalls are slowing containment efforts on the ground. The WHO Director General arrived in Kinshasa to coordinate the DRC Ebola response. Calling the situation complex, he requested a ceasefire as displacement and food shortages make containment more difficult. He also called for increased international funding, noting only a third of required support has been received, and said the WHO opposes travel bans due to their limited effectiveness.
As you know, WHO's advice is the travel ban is not advised by WHO because it doesn't help much. It could slow maybe a few days can give you, but not more. The best approach is to intensify the measures at the source and support. Actually, when countries are transparently reporting their cases, when you ban travel, it doesn't encourage them, because other countries then will say, okay, if I'm going to be sanctioned or if there will be a ban imposed on me, travel ban, then they might ask, why do I even report early?
Speaking exclusively to A News, WHO Program Area Manager for Emergency Response, Dr. Patrick Otim, warned that conflict, funding pressures and travel restrictions are complicating efforts to contain a rapidly spreading Ebola outbreak in the DRC. He said the outbreak is expanding across multiple provinces. Here's what he had to say.
Outbreak is evolving because it is expanding. 13 days ago, we had only 3 health zones. Now we have 13 health zones, so that it has expanded, but also that we are scaling up the response actions on the ground to try to contain it. The overall global reduction in funding has impacted across the board. So in terms of from the government side, the support they were getting, and also what we call operational partners. There were different operational partners, community-based organizations, NGOs, and international organizations that were getting funding, and all these have been impacted. Now, from WHO perspective, yes, we have been impacted in different ways. Of course, in the routine programming, HIV, TB, and others. But in the emergency space, we have tried to make sure that this does not significantly impact our ability to be able to respond. The only challenge this time was it was detected a little bit late. It's an area which is insecure, and currently we are trying to ramp up the response and leveraging support. The emergency committee for the international health regulation was convened by the DG, and they have issued what we call temporary recommendations as required under HR. The temporary recommendation is classified into 3. You have the countries where you have outbreak, the countries that are neighboring, and all the other countries. And it has explicitly stated what measures they need to take to get ready and to prevent the spread of the disease. Now, the IHR, when it was put in place, it was exactly for this reason, so that we do not interfere with trade and travel, that we implement evidence-based public health measures that helps countries to build their capacity to detect and respond without putting in place the travel bans, because all these travel bans does complicate the response efforts. This is the 17th outbreak in DRC. This is the 8th outbreak in Uganda. So the two countries have experience, extensive knowledge in managing this kind of outbreak, even in the absence of vaccines. the basic fundamentals of controlling this outbreak is known, and they know how to do it. It's only that we need the resources to enable the rapid expansion of the field operation.
South Sudan's army is warning that fighting could resume in parts of the country. The army has accused opposition troops loyal to suspended Vice President Riek Machar of attacking government military garrisons. There's been no comment yet from opposition troops. Patrick Oyet reports from South Sudan's capital, Juba.
The South Sudan People's Defense Force, or SSPDF, says its position in central Equatoria, where the country's capital is located, and in Jonglei State in the east of the country have been attacked by opposition troops in the past few days. SSPDF says it remains committed to supporting implementation of the country's peace deal signed in 2018. It is also calling on all opposition forces to report to specific designated areas for unification, retraining, and redeployment.
All SSPDF units are being directed to remain in their defensive positions and respond only when aggressed or when attacked. We urge all those who are part of the agreement to commit or to recommit to dialogue and respect for the ceasefire to prevent further deterioration of the security situation and ensure lasting peace in the Republic of South Sudan.
South Sudan's government has been clashing with opposition forces in Jonglei State in the east of the country for months. However, the military declared a ceasefire early this month. The military has sided with President Salva Kiir in the conflict. Supporters of opposition leader Riek Machar have in the past said they are fighting President Kiir's government to free their leader. Machar is currently under house arrest and is facing trial in Juba on charges of murder and crimes against humanity for his alleged involvement in attack against federal forces early this year. Mr. Machar's party has rejected those charges. President Kiir's supporter claim Mr. Machar is in conflict with the law and the court will determine his fate. The two camps fought a civil war from 2013 till the peace deal was signed in 2018, with that conflict claiming 400,000 lives. Patrick Oyet for Air News in Juba, South Sudan.
US President Donald Trump has increased the number of white refugees allowed into the country by 10,000. The move is expected to allow more white South Africans to settle in the United States. Official figures show that by the end of April this year, about 6,000 white South Africans had already entered the US as refugees. Isaac Lucando reports.
President Donald Trump says the increase in the refugee cap is due to what he calls an unforeseen emergency refugee situation. The U.S. administration claims rising racially motivated incidents in South Africa justify expanding the refugee program, which is expected to mainly benefit Afrikaners. However, South Africa's Department of International Relations and Cooperation has rejected claims that white South Africans are being persecuted, calling the allegations unfounded. Last year, Washington announced plans to admit up to 7,500 refugees, most of them Afrikaners, before September 2026. With the latest increase, the total number could now rise to 17,500. U.S. officials estimate the expansion will cost taxpayers an additional $100 million to support refugee resettlement programs. Traditionally, refugee quotas in the United States have focused on people displaced by war, conflict, or humanitarian crises across different parts of the world. Analysts warn the latest move could further strain already tense relations between Pretoria and Washington. Isaac Lucando for A News in Dar es Salaam.
At least 16 students have been killed after a dormitory fire at a girls' school in Kenya overnight. The blaze broke out shortly after midnight at Utumishi Girls Academy Senior School in Gilgil and burned for more than 2 hours, according to Education Minister Julius Migos. 79 other students were injured, though most have since been discharged from hospital. Authorities say 8 students have been arrested on suspicion of arson. In Lamu County on Kenya's coast, a classroom on wheels is opening a door many students have never had before.
In Kenya's coastal Lamu County, a mobile classroom is helping young people in remote communities gain digital skills. The Huawei-backed DigiTruck program has graduated 145 students in Lamu and says it has trained more than 8,000 people across 43 counties since its launch in 2019.
The DigiTruck program is basically a classroom on wheels. So it's a digital lab, a refurbished container, 40-feet container fitted with computers, 20 computers to be precise, and internet. Its objective is to take technology to communities lived in the most marginalized communities in counties in Kenya. We train people digital computer skills, or digital skills, entrepreneurial skills.
Inside the DigiTruck, learners practice basic computer skills and receive training in entrepreneurship, online safety and digital marketing. For many participants, the program offers their first real access to computers and a possible path toward employment and entrepreneurship.
Where I studied at Hongo Secondary School, there wasn't computers, even one. The only computer I used to sit there was for the principal, Hongo Secondary School. But after I joined the college, there I came across several computers in computer lab.
For some students, access to the training requires long journeys through remote areas where digital infrastructure and educational resources remain limited.
It takes 2 hours because I was walking very slowly because I was 7 weeks after getting bad. So I can't walk slow, very hurry. I was walking slowly. So 2 hours. And I decided to continue with my education because of my background at home. I am the firstborn. I see mom, how the life was. I decided to continue with education so that I can improve my life. I don't want my kids to follow or to get the problem that I get when I was young.
National ICT officials say mobile digital training programs can help expand access to opportunities for young people in rural areas, particularly women and girls.
So in this partnership with Huawei, it's a good one because it has provided us a stepstone for us to leapfrog forward because it's mobile. So it goes across the remote areas of this country to provide digital skills, especially for the young girls and ladies.
Local officials say the program is especially valuable in Lamu County, where geography and distance often make access to education and technology more difficult.
With a lot of geographical challenge and sparsely placed populations, we've had youths travel long distances to come here and access this great program.
Since launching in 2019, the DigiTruck program says it has trained more than 8,000 people across 43 counties in Kenya. Organisers say the goal is to bring digital education directly to communities that might otherwise remain excluded from the country's growing digital economy. As graduates in Lamu receive their certificates, the DigiTruck prepared to continue its journey to other remote communities across Kenya.
That's all we have today on Africa News. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to A News for continuing coverage.